Okay.
So we can keep it short and sweet, but we can do like updates and stuff too.
Yeah.
Is this okay with my headphones on?
Um, what's your mic source?
The laptop.
Are you sure?
What else could it be? Does Zoom have its own mic source?
Could be your headphones.
My headphones have a microphone?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Um, it's I don't know how to tell.
Click on the
Do you know
arrow
how?
next to the microphone.
An arrow next to the microphone. On my laptop?
In Zoom, click
Oh,
on
in
the
Zoom.
arrow next to the microphone.
Oh, I see audio. Okay. Oh, yeah, it is. Selected microphone. Oh, selected microphone. It's from Ahmed. That's you.
That's the headphones.
Okay. So
That's not
instead
me.
do
It's what you named your headphones.
so instead do MacBook Air
Yeah.
microphone.
Yep.
That's crazy. I had no idea.
There. Okay, that's way
Okay, I
better.
switched it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that does sound better. Weird.
Oh boy. Okay. You ready?
Yeah. I'm gonna be drinking coffee while we do it though.
That's fine. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Field Between. My name is Ahmed. Today I'm joined by guest Yasmin. Welcome to the show.
Ahmed. Good to be here.
Yeah, you're joining from New York.
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York.
Yes.
Mamdani's New York. How's it going?
It's good. It's cold here. Pretty similar to Pittsburgh in that way.
Uh-huh.
Nice to be here. I just got here yesterday.
Okay. All right. Your voice is still pretty low on this. Let me turn you up. All right.
I'm not a guest though. This is a two-person show.
So, okay. How is Mamdani? What's your take?
I think he's doing the best he can.
Are the subways overrun with criminals and all manner of deplorables?
I'm taking the subway today, so I'll be able to report back.
Okay.
Yeah,
So as I
took
see
a
it,
taxi from the airport to here.
yeah, he's already starting to, he's, just like Trump blaming the previous administration for everything that's going wrong. He's like, oh, Adams embezzled all this money and he left us with $12 billion in debt.
But I believe that Adam did that. I think also
Yeah.
he's just trying to create a sense of crisis so that people lean on the governor more. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
People are like,
yeah.
oh, this is just like such a sneaky way to be able to raise taxes. And I'm like, okay, great. Whatever. Like, who gives a
Yeah,
shit?
do what you gotta do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I left yesterday and then you're coming in 4 days. So we're going, yeah.
Why did you leave?
I left because I sped off now. I left because I'm doing a fellowship here for 3 months. So we're going to be commuting back and forth in long distance,
We're long distance.
which is very sad, but it'll be cute. We'll make the most of it.
Yeah. How do you feel?
I feel okay right now, actually. I feel like Monday I was kind of like weirdly emotional and like really sad. But I think I got that
Monday
was-
before you left.
Yeah.
To be clear,
Monday.
you've only been gone 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. This was like the beginning of the week. I was feeling really emotional. But I feel like you were sweet and like listened to me and I got it out of my system. And now I feel like pretty good. I think also like it helps that I know I'm just going to like think short term and I like, you're coming Thursday. That's exciting. So just like one time at a time. You know what I mean?
One thing at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also feel really excited about doing stuff here. So that helps.
Yeah.
I've talked with my parents for 2 hours last night. That was really cute. It's nice to like be in the same space as them. So there's,
Nice.
some good things
What's the insider information? What's going on there?
Insider information. They went to like a really interesting, like interactive opera. They're very hip.
Yeah, they do a lot of
Where-
cool things. They're very active.
Yeah, they like.
That's great.
Yeah, they walked around like these rooms, and then the opera singers interacted with them. They had fun.
Yeah.
So they came home at like 8. I was here since 2, and then we caught up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But how do you feel with my absence in the home?
It's sad. It makes the snow and the cold a lot harder to bear.
Oh,
Because it's like, you're just used to going back home and it kind of getting cozy with another person, and now it's just kind of like dark all the time.
you also have all the lights off. That's why it's dark.
I have the normal amount of lights on, but it's just, Pittsburgh is dark.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. My big thing is falling asleep alone. I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
So I got to work on that.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
I think those are all the updates. Tuesday is my first day going into the library where I'm doing my fellowship, so that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, I'm gonna like start working regular work hours and just kind of like get like an outline of when I want to do what. So excited to like hit the ground running with work stuff next week. How about you in terms of what else? You got your Arabic class after this, which is so cool.
Yeah, I'm doing Arabic lessons on Sundays, so I have that at 10. Today, I don't really have a lot of plans. Oh, I watched
nice for a Sunday.
Last night. I watched Dark Waters. Have you heard of it?
No.
It came out a couple of years ago. It's got Mark Ruffalo in it. It's about the lawyer who sued DuPont for polluting the Ohio River. And releasing like all these, like, how everyone's talking about like PFAS and all this stuff. Apparently those, like, he had like a 20-year investigation into, like, he's been looking into that stuff since like 1997. And he sued DuPont on behalf of like a massive class of people in Ohio because it was horrible. Like, it's kind of like a slightly fictionalized version, like, or dramatized version of like what really happened. So it's like a real story that was dramatized into this movie. And it's just nuts. I'm gonna throw away all of our nonstick pans, by the way. I'm just like, there's no way I'm like,
We don't have any left.
yeah, we have like a nonstick pot that you use sometimes.
Wait until I get there
pasta.
before you throw anything away. Okay?
I refuse to eat anything that comes out of those. Just so
That's fair, but you don't really even eat pasta, so that's kind of for
not
me.
anymore. But that thing is also already also scratched up. We're never getting any more plastic utensils to use on a hot pan.
That's fair. It is very upsetting, honestly. I think it's something we should all be taking more personally that I didn't really start thinking about until recently, just how much like our environment is poisoning us and how much it's not our fault. Like,
Yeah.
even just like starting to have breathing, not intense breathing issues, but like I definitely have noticed a shift in like respiratory response being in Pittsburgh. And I think it's because, like, I mean, a lot of people on Reddit have said it's because of the mills that are still active and that kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's truly evil what the company did. So, okay, DuPont created like Teflon, which was initially created to have like these military applications because it repels water. And it's like this chain of carbon atoms with a fluoride atom at the end. And so it's like, the more you chain carbon atoms, like the more unbreakable it becomes. It's like a very strong material. And it has like, again, like water repellent properties and other properties that like make it good for coating like military equipment, but also creating nonstick pans and all that shit is like how they found consumer market applicability for it. And even back in like the 60s, according to this movie, like DuPont started to realize that a lot of people on the Teflon line were getting really sick. And so they did their own studies into like what's going on. Is it related to the Teflon stuff that they were making? Like, we have all these people who scrub out these massive, drums and barrels and like vats where we like produce the Teflon and all that shit. And they like heinous shit. It took 8 guys from one of their units and were like, hey, smoke these cigarettes. And they had the C8, which is like the shorthand for the chain of 8 carbons, whatever. It was like the C8 Teflon or whatever. And so they did, and then these guys all ended up being hospitalized and like died from like
So it's like basically
cancers.
human experimentation. That's awful.
That was just allowed in the 60s, or like no one, I guess no one gave a shit, or like there was no protection for workers, or like they just kept it so clandestine, and they were like, yeah, they're just like test rats or whatever. And then they noticed like a higher rate of like birth defects or like pregnant women like having complications, and like women were working to clear out those vats and clean them up and whatever. And they like just quietly took all the women off of the Teflon line because they were seeing like there were all these birth defects. And then one woman who had a baby that had like one nostril and like a fucked up, like messed up eyes and all this stuff. I think she worked there. And that kid is still alive and was actually in the movie for like a scene. I think she was a worker there, and then she was like, why did you take me off the line? I need the money, I need the job, whatever. And then they like just quietly they didn't give reason for why they took them off, and then they just silently put them back on because I guess they didn't want people like asking too many questions. And then they also just like started burying all like the sludge and the waste from this stuff, and like just dumped it into landfills that leaked into groundwater next to farms. Damn. And killed people's
That's crazy.
animals, and like they polluted the Ohio River with it, and they just like poisoned a shitload of people and like caused like all these crazy forms of cancer and like birth defects like all across Ohio, and like people who live along the Ohio River.
Very bad event, good movie, it sounds like.
The movie was okay. Horrible. But like, because I was just like, oh wow, I had
interested in this subject. Yeah.
I had no idea the extent of just like corporate evil that went into this,
Damn.
Yeah. And like, that's like the same chemical. You know how people were talking about PFAS like a couple months ago or whatever. They're like, oh no, PFAS. Like this is that pretty much.
I mean, it's literally in everything. We all contain microplastics at this point. It sounds like obviously if you were on an assembly line or something, you'd be exposed to like unsustainable amounts, but we all have been exposed. Yeah.
Yeah. And just, it gives you like some insight into some of the language that they use. It's like, oh, well, this was deemed safe. It's like the EPA doesn't really like have standards for it or whatever. And it's like, because you didn't tell them about it. Like, you know more than the EPA about this thing. So that's crazy. It's crazy. So that's what I did yesterday.
I was gonna say, I'm glad you're staying busy with depressing stuff. That's good.
Yeah. How many microplastics do you think the cat has?
I don't know. She doesn't like chew on stuff that often.
She drinks water,
do you think I mean, so do we.
Yeah, it's in the water.
Okay. Are you just interested why are you interested in the cat's microplastics? Just because her body's smaller?
She's tinier. But also she eats the same thing every day. So I'm curious like how much you get, I guess, just from the water.
Yeah. I guess her food also comes in plastic, but
her food comes in plastic. Wow.
All right. So you are now you've got a day to yourself, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm not going to go to the gym.
You went yesterday, right?
I did go yesterday.
Yeah. I'm going to try a new yoga studio here tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. But today I'm just trying to walk a little more, which I'm looking forward to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have anything prepared, despite you saying that you would have something prepared.
Wow. I just moved.
Yeah, that's true. You went through a big life event.
Mm-hmm. But you're prepared.
I've got some stuff. Got some stuff. None of it all that uplifting. Probably the PFAS stuff was probably the most lighthearted stuff we're going to go through today.
That's great.
But I don't know if you saw a couple days or weeks ago the Thomas Friedman article about Gaza.
No, I mean, every Thomas Friedman article is stupid, but I have not seen this one.
Well, this one, I was
it.
optimistic. From the headline, it says Minneapolis and Gaza now share the same violent language.
Wow.
Thomas Friedman. I was like, oh, wow. He really is starting to come around on Gaza. And I'll just read a little bit here, but he says, every day now I sit at my computer and ask myself, what is there left to say about the two news stories I care about most? One is unfolding in my hometown on the banks of the Mississippi River. The other is unfolding on the west bank of the Jordan and on both banks of the Wadi in Gaza, Wadi Gaza. And I was like, okay, all right, Thomas. It really seems like you're starting to get, catch on that,
Things are connected.
Yeah, what's happening with ICE is like an extension or can be directly correlated to like what is happening in Palestine. That's great. A little too late, but it's really good. Moving on, which video should I linger on longest? The footage of Renee Good shot in the face by ICE officer in Minneapolis while she was clearly trying to evacuate the scene, or the video from Saturday of federal agents shooting Alex Jeffrey Peretti after he tried to help a woman who was being pepper sprayed, or perhaps a video from Wednesday showing the aftermath of Israeli strikes that killed 3 Palestinian journalists, among others, in Gaza. The journalists had been working for a committee providing Egyptian aid and were documenting its distribution at a displacement camp, or perhaps the videos of Hamas executing rivals and refusing to yield, despite the fact that the war the group ignited on October 7th, 2023, has resulted in nothing but catastrophe for Palestinians. The language starts to turn a little bit here because he fails to mention like executing the rivals or like these ISIS affiliated people who are also like egged on by Israel. So that's like a convenient fact to omit there. And then also, I don't know, just like the passive language of like has resulted in nothing but catastrophe for Palestinians. It's like true, but like we never talk about in those sentences. We never just like say Israel has created a catastrophic mess, but whatever. I guess that's besides the point. He goes on to say like these stories have much more in common than you think, which is where like I was just like, oh my God, that's really happening for Thomas. Driven by terrible leaders who prefer easy, violent solutions. Let's see.
I think I found the place that it gets wrong.
Yeah.
I understand why Hamas fighters wear masks. They have both Israeli and Palestinian blood on their hands and fear retribution.
Yeah. Hamas and I share one visible trait that I never thought I'd see. and the fact is that they wear masks. And I was like, oh, okay, Thomas, you actually haven't learned anything, because I thought he was going to say the connection is that when we allow the dehumanization and the extermination of Palestinians and like the tactics that Israel uses against Palestinians to happen and backed by the U.S., like eventually we'll see that happen here. And there's also the connection of like Israeli, like IDF training ICE. But that's just like not the connection that he makes. It's that they both wear masks and that Hamas is like ICE, not the IDF and ICE are
And then
similar.
even like further down, he's criticizing Israel a little bit, but then he also says like,
where at? Or go ahead.
Netanyahu apologized for that earlier killing, but regardless of 3 journalists killed last week, the IDF forces released a boilerplate statement saying troops identified several suspects who operated a drone affiliated with Hamas. The IDF added that details are being reviewed. That is what it always says. That is how a nation and an army loses its soul. So there's this kind of premise that I think a lot of kind of liberal Zionists, for lack of a better term, keep on. This idea that essentially like Israel went downhill because of Netanyahu, right? And the idea that like the army has lost its soul. Like armies don't have souls. Like there's not a single army in the world that has a soul. And I think it's so ironic at a time where we're seeing such vast militarization in the U.S. and seeing essentially like the state security apparatus in a more full-throttled way, because it already had turned down segments of the population. And, you know, there's like histories that people have been talking about, which I think is really important in terms of like precursors to ICE that are local, right?
Yeah.
Like thinking about slave patrols and slave catchers, that kind of thing. So I don't want to give the impression that like the military and like military-like forces in the US weren't already hurting citizens, but it's been amplified, right? So it's like, again, like it's not like the state lost its soul. It's like that it's gone full throttle. That's the issue.
Yeah,
so
it's
kind of ironic to be like, oh, well, like the IDF is not doing what it's supposed to do. Like it is. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, its soul was like corrupt and evil from the start. Like, what do you mean it's lost its soul? That's insane thing to say.
Yeah.
I like further.
I will.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, you go first. I will say this is, it's a low bar, but this is still not as bad as a lot of his stuff.
Oh, I mean, yeah. This paragraph down here, Netanyahu knows that if he runs for re-election with Hamas still holding political influence in Gaza and the IDF pulling back, he will be savaged by the far-right extremists in his coalition. Wait, hold on. You're making a lot of blanket noise. What's going on?
I'm readjusting to be more comfortable.
All right. You gotta not move it that much because it's making a lot of noise.
Okay.
All
Continue.
Right. Is there any way you could sit at your desk?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe do that because this is
This is not a vibe.
no.
You don't think that people want
bad.
ASMR of my bed sheets?
No, they definitely do not.
Okay, fine.
They gotta. Well, come on, we're professionals. You gotta act like it.
People do professional stuff from bed.
Yeah. Well, they have more expensive mics, so whenever you're ready to get more expensive mics, we can do that. All right. But this paragraph down here, okay, so Netanyahu knows that if he runs for election with Hamas still holding political influence in Gaza and the IDF pulling back, he will be savaged by far-right extremists in his coalition. Those allies don't just want to stay in Gaza, they want to annex the West Bank, so Bibi wants the war to continue. What a fucking stupid... Like, I just don't understand how he writes this paragraph and doesn't understand that he's like kind of just trying to make an excuse, but like saying that regardless of whether or not Netanyahu's in power, the exact same thing's going to happen. Because like, what do you mean the far right extremists in his coalition? Like,
He is the far right. Yeah.
not only is he the far right, but everyone in fucking Israel and like the fucking Knesset is the far right. Anyone who's supporting what's happening is the far right. Like, they're already staying in Gaza. He's like, he's making this like circular.
I mean, Netanyahu has very much like led the charge against annexing the West Bank and having
They're doing
incursions
it.
in the West Bank. Yeah.
Yeah, they're terrorizing the West Bank with like IDF soldiers and by like encouraging these fucking terrorist settlers to go in and just terrorize people, burn their homes, kick them out. Like, there was a video the other day of like them making these two kids tear down their own home because they because they quote don't have proper permits for the house, which they have to get from Israel, and Israel does not issue the permits so that they can make exactly these things happen. It's crazy making. And here is Thomas Friedman being like, okay, well, you know, Netanyahu is holding the far-right extremists at bay, and the far-right extremists want to do all the things that Netanyahu's doing, but like Netanyahu's doing those things so that he doesn't get besieged by the far-right extremists. Like, so in your mind, moron, like who are the far-right extremists and what is Netanyahu? Like, what do you...
I think... I'm hoping that if I'm being super, super generous, and I don't mean this for like Thomas Friedman specifically, but I think for people who kind of think in these ways, I really hope that like at least locally they can become radicalized by what's happening in Minneapolis. And it's maybe too much to hope for that would extend to their foreign policy analysis, but they really are connected. Like, I think there just has to be an acknowledgement of like fascist repressive forces, and also particularly of the American military's role at home and abroad and what that's done to like destabilize democracy globally. I think that there's just this kind of like underlying belief in like the inherent goodness of the American project that is kind of preventing us from acknowledging how free fall things are right now.
Yeah. it's just like, I don't know. Again, like we say this every time we bring up a Thomas Friedman article, but the idea that someone gets
We've done a lot of them.
the fact that like someone gets paid to write this like absolutely uncritical, like horrible, like you can't call it analysis because I don't know what it passes for anymore. It's just like one of the dumbest people I've ever read has like one of the most important column spaces ever, and you kind of like have to think that it's just like a cruel cosmic joke that he exists. And I'm reading down here at the bottom that he has won 3 Pulitzer Prizes. I
think we've mentioned this before, but there was like a Thomas Friedman generator like, before ChatGPT and stuff was big that would just like, I think his tone is so predictable that it created pretty good articles.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just like read his last little bit here. To my friends and family in Minnesota, stay proud of the way you are documenting abuses and standing up for your neighbors, those with legal papers and those without them, who abide by the law, work hard, and enrich our city. But it is vital that this campaign be accompanied by a loud commitment to immigration reform that both controls the border and creates a legal pathway to citizenship. The winning message remains: high wall, big gate. Control the border, but increase legal immigration. Okay.
I feel like control the border is not the moment we need right now.
Not only that, but like Minnesota is not a border state. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, again, more blanket noise here. Okay. Okay. Minnesota's not like a border state. So I don't know what the fuck Thomas Friedman's talking about. Like he's
saying like a larger Democrat message on immigration. He's saying, I mean, this is kind of going back to how like so many Democrats are still sort of trying to strike a sort of centrist tone, I think, of like, we're still for border control and immigration, like control. I mean, pathway to citizenship, I of course agree with, but I just think like there is no need to control the border. Like immigration is at a all-time low in the US. Our population is actually like not increasing the way that it has in previous years.
But
the whole idea of us like not being able to have immigration is just kind of like a racist idea anyway. Like that, like people are coming here who are bad or whatever.
Yeah. But like, again, just like the like desires that Thomas puts forward in this are just like butting heads, and they're so incompatible, and like he doesn't realize it because he just doesn't understand how the things that he wants are just like in complete contradiction to one another. So he's like, okay, yeah, we because you know who else has high walls and big gates is Israel, and like he's sees what's happening in Palestine, and he's like, well, it's beyond the point that I can say that it's like good what they're doing and that Israel's totally in the right. And I want to make a comparison between like ICE and Israel and what like Trump is doing, but somehow I want to be able to say that like what's happening in Palestine is bad as a result of like Israel being able to have like all these high walls and control every border and become like an ethno state. But I want it to be good here somehow. But ICE is bad, and like somehow maybe we can have like massive border security and put all this money into like weeding out illegal immigration, whatever, blah blah blah, quote illegal immigration. But then be able to say that like ICE is bad. It's like you don't get one without the other. And I think
I agree with that, and I think particularly in this moment, it's so obvious the need to kind of, I think, actually like the only way to fight fascism is with populism, right? And the only way to kind of like push back against what's happening is to acknowledge like the full horror of it and not take these like half steps.
Yeah.
Like I feel similarly about all these Democrats, and there's a lot of them who are like, we have to reform ICE.
Yeah.
Like, no, we need to abolish ICE. ICE doesn't need to exist. Like it was created in 2003. There's no need for ICE to exist. And it has the way that the agency is acting, it is incapable of reform. Like there is nothing that could come of that. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I think he wants in his dream, like there's a populist uprising with the demand for like the beautiful wall and like really tight border security.
And somehow those people also aren't racist and are going to allow for pathways to citizenship.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
I want a wall, but
Yeah.
let's also let them become citizens. Like those sentiments don't go together.
Yeah. God. Anyway, that's it for Thomas Friedman. He's one of the stupidest motherfuckers in the game. So, anything else to say on that?
No.
Okay. There was another piece in the New York Times opinion section. Did you
Picking on the Times?
Yeah. Well, no, not picking on it this time, but this is, I'm sure you saw this. It's written by Hind, Rajab's mother.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Close to the anniversary, or like the annual. I guess anniversary. Anniversary seems weird to say, but anyway, it is marking her daughter's death.
What's the name of the column?
Death, her murder by IDF. It's called "No Child Deserves to Die Like My Daughter" from January 29th, 2026, and it's a pretty short article, but it's really heartbreaking and beautiful. So I'm just gonna read quite a bit of it here, but it's by Wissam Hamada, again, the mother of Hind. So on January 29th, 2024, my daughter Hind's voice reached me for the last time. It's been 2 years, but its absence is still the loudest sound in our home. That day, Hind was trapped in a small car surrounded by Israeli tanks. Her cousins lay dead beside her. Her clothes were soaked in their blood. She was 5 years old, whispering to me on the phone that she needed to go to the bathroom. She also spoke to rescue dispatchers who tried to comfort her during the wait for an ambulance, an exchange that was recorded and later heard around the world. My daughter, Hind Rajab, was born on May 3rd, 2018, after years of infertility, years of praying, years of believing God had closed a door that would never open. When I finally became pregnant, I felt like I was carrying hope itself. Her birth was difficult. She almost didn't survive. But when they placed her tiny body in my arms, I whispered a prayer that became a promise between us. God, let her scent stay with me. And when life shatters me, let Hind's scent be what helps me keep going. It's like heartbreaking to just read that. It's like a devastating opening couple of paragraphs, especially knowing how Hind's life was ended by the IDF, where she was terrified and among the bodies of her dead relatives and trying to get in contact with her mom. And then on the other side, her mom being tortured by the idea that she couldn't help her daughter. And that dispatchers were trying to get an ambulance out and trying to negotiate with the IDF to go rescue this 5-year-old girl, and not able to do so. But finally she mentions that, an ambulance was minutes away before Israel just opened fire and killed her and killed the people in the ambulance. It's just, I don't know. It's fucking disgusting. And yeah, I don't know what to say. I think it's worth reading and worth marking this date, because I do think that because of what's happening with all these ICE raids, people's attention is now off of Palestine, and because of all the media concentration, conglomeration, they've just flooded news with everything other than Palestine.
And part of that, to be fair, is because we're under siege in a way that is very immediate, and I think also because people have a moral responsibility to stop what's happening in a way that is tangible, in a way that we should have done more and we should still be doing more. But it is harder to intercept the transfer of military weapons, but you can go to a place in your neighborhood where people are being held. But I mean, to your point, I think it also just speaks to I mean, this sounds obvious, obviously, but like just the horror of like children being left behind. I mean, that's something that's very much happening here with ICE, right? I mean, there have been like 4 or 5 year olds who have been taken from their families, who have been sent to like detention centers. Like, I mean, it's really horrific. And I think, I mean, that is also a hallmark of just like a rabid military gone wrong, right? I mean, I don't think it's like completely accidental that we are. It's not obviously anything on this scale of what was done in and is being done in Palestine, but there are some similarities.
For sure. Maybe those similarities would be lost on someone like Thomas Friedman, but they are pretty clear. A couple things. So the other Palestine-related news is that there was a headline that said that Israel finally like came to an agreement with the health ministry in Palestine or in Gaza that like the death count of all of this over the last 2+ years is 70,000. They agree on the number 70,000. And I just like think that that's disgusting because every single like scholar, academic of genocide, everyone who's like, looked into this agrees that like a conservative estimate is like over 500,000 now. And many of those children, and even in this article, Wissam says that since the quote ceasefire started, Israel has killed more than 100 children just since the ceasefire officially began. And it is still bombing refugee camps in like, tents every day. Every day there's a headline. It's like, 28 people killed. 15 people killed in this one. So they are just like not stopping. They've opened Rafah crossing both ways to kind of maybe run cover for what they're doing and say like, oh no, we're establishing like humanitarian corridor and we're like allowing aid in, but really it's just part and parcel of their extermination campaign, because I know they fully expect people to go out one way and never be able to come back, because they'll make sure that there's absolutely nothing to come back to. And this is like somewhat related.
And there's still talk of like real estate development happening.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah. There's the Board of Peace that Trump started, and all it is like talking about, getting like $1 billion buy-in from whoever wants to kind of just be subservient to Trump. And they're putting out all this like horrible AI generated slop bullshit of like, this is what Gaza is going to look like. Isn't it great? And
right.
Yeah, it's just disgusting. One thing that people have said about all the ICE raids and about like a lot of the stuff that is, littering the media landscape in the US is that this is like, don't take your eye off the ball. This is all about distracting from the Epstein files. And there was just like a big tranche of Epstein documents released yesterday or the day before. And I'm like, honestly, I'm starting to think that like all of this shit is like just the Epstein stuff and all the other shit that the Trump administration is doing seems to really just be a distraction from Palestine. Because like, if we've watched what's happening in Palestine the last 2 years, and if you see what's been happening to children in Palestine every day, not only in like Gaza, like where they have been blown apart and mutilated and mangled by US munitions and by Israeli soldiers, but what's been happening in like the Israeli concentration camps as well, that they call prisons, where they are raping and abusing, like sexually abusing children, as well as men and women. Like tying that to the obvious, like, the ICE stuff here where children are being abducted and people are dying in ICE detention facilities.
And where there have also been huge sexual assault cases. Yeah.
Like if what's happening in Palestine to children doesn't bother you, or like you're able to live with it for like 2+ years, I promise you nothing you read in the Epstein files is going to move you the slightest bit.
Yeah, I don't personally know how helpful the like distraction discourse is. I mean, I think there might be something to it with the Epstein files, just in that like a lot of people have been tied up in that and interested in that in a kind of conspiratorial way. And so, but I think that this is like the Trump government's agenda, right? I don't know if it's just a distraction. I do hesitate to kind of say I understand and I agree that we need to make sure that we don't let up on advocating for Palestine and on specifically pushing back against like US empire's role, which is most of the role in enabling the ongoing genocide and atrocities to happen. But I don't think that like I don't think you're saying this, but I don't think that the proliferation of stories about ICE is like a distraction from Palestine. It's just like you're saying, it's another connected horror that's happening, and the common cause and the common, I mean, we're the common cause, right? I mean, like the US security state is the common cause. Like, I mean, however awful Israel is, and it is, like, Israel exists because of us. Israel exists because of the weapons that we give Israel, right? Like, there's just no way that this proxy state would be as powerful as it was if it wasn't for the US. So I think, yeah, I think they're very much related. And I do think a lot of people get that. I also would say I think that there is like, and that we have to push past this because I think it's just the beginning, but I think there is like a little bit of like fatigue or just like confusion about like where to focus efforts when it feels like everything is collapsing at one time, you know?
I'm not saying that like, you know, people shouldn't report on the Epstein stuff or like the ICE stuff or whatever. I think what I'm saying is like when people look at it, it's like, oh, what is the Trump administration trying to hide? It's like if the Trump administration is trying to hide anything or get your attention off of anything, it is what's happening in Palestine. And people keep looking like or imagining that there are going to be more and more like lurid details and like something so unimaginably like horrible in the Epstein files, like this pedophilic cabal doing rituals where they eat children while sexually abusing or whatever, right? Like that's going to be so horrible that it's finally going to galvanize people or like make the Democrats finally like grow a spine and like impeach Trump and like get him out of office, whatever, and we'll see him imprisoned. And I'm like, there's nothing going to be in there that's going to be worse than Palestine. And I do think that the Trump administration wants people to not think or talk about Palestine anymore. That's very clear from the fact that they like facilitated the sale of TikTok because of Palestine speech from like Chinese owners to like Larry Ellison, who is one of the largest donors to the IDF. And they've hired all these like former like 8200 whatever, like the IDF 8200 unit or whatever that like is like the special intelligence unit, people to like run it and to also like moderate content on like the Meta platforms, etc. Because they know that
they also
like,
kicked like Bassan off the platform. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and they know that Palestine, like the movement around Palestine solidarity in the US that started with like the college campuses and grew out from there, was these like the most threatening one to like the status quo that has existed in a long time. Even more threatening than I think the Occupy protests, because for the first time people like finally tied everything together through Palestine. They were like, oh, US imperialism is bad. The economic order begets you like the capitalist system. Like this is downstream of all of that, right? Like it begets imperialism. It begets economic inequality. It begets like horror and suffering in like the third world nations. And it requires that as sacrifice so that the engines of capital can keep going.
Yeah. And to your point, I think like, right. I think that part of the issue with the kind of like imaginary around the Epstein files is one, we already know that horrific things were done by these men. Like so many people have come forward and that should honestly be enough. Like I get like wanting to hold people accountable and that is fair, but like it's almost as if like we just don't believe the survivors and we need like documentation. But two, right, like children are already being abused, right? Like Hind was already killed, like not just abused, murdered. Liam was already taken from this 5-year-old was taken from his family in Minneapolis and taken alone to Texas, like at 5 years old. Like children are being abused and are being murdered. And that's not imaginary. Like it's happening in real time. So I think you're right. The connections are already there and they're pretty explicit. But I think, and I think the kind of student movement and that moment where there were encampments in the U.S., I think that laid the ground for what will be a lot of really helpful dismantling of U.S. empire from within the U.S. I think that those will be the same people and are the same people already that are thinking about responding to ICE mobilizations in their cities. Yeah. And it's also like, I don't think I can overstate. I think we are living through, like in the U.S., the breakdown of the relationship between the federal government and the state governments, right? That's very much playing out in Minneapolis. And so, what will that look like in terms of deployment of U.S. troops abroad when like the states are increasingly disconnected from the federal government? I mean, I don't have the answers, but I think that is like a dynamic that we'll be dealing with in real time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's well said. And that's why I wanted to put like these two topics next to each other, is like the Hind's mother's article next to kind of just like the Friedman discussion of ICE in Gaza and kind of like the Epstein stuff. Because I'm like, yeah, if you can read Hind's mother's article and then move by it and then be like, oh man, like we need to release the Epstein files. I'm like, there's kind of, I don't know what to say to you. There's like no hope because like you said, right? Like the child abuse has been happening for a long time and you're not going to discover anything more horrible than that. There's a lot of horrible shit happening, but if you just kind of like move by it and you're just like, it almost feels like people are the same part of their brain that like gets entertained by, scrolling and like all this, movies and entertainment and like whatever. It's almost like we're using that to think through all of this shit and the Epstein files and like, it's just like we're waiting for something that titillates those senses so much more. Like we're imagining something horrible and we're like, yes, when that finally materializes, like all of this is going to change. And I'm like, that's never going to happen.
Yeah. And I do think, to be clear, and I think we both think this, I think that Trump doesn't want to release the Epstein files. It just like, I don't think there'll be anything in there that would surprise me at this point. Like he's already been accused of rape. I'm sure that he has assaulted underage women. Like I'm sure it's all awful. We've already kind of gotten a peek into a world in which men acted without, and some women, people acted without any kind of impunity and just used their wealth to like really demean other human beings. So I think we've got the basic picture. Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's close on this because I have to go to my Arabic lesson. Saudi Arabia. I don't know if you've seen the headlines.
I forgot to send this to you. I was like, I can't believe that I didn't send this to you. We haven't talked about it because you were so ahead on the NEOM train.
Yeah.
And we should have spent more time on this because I wanted to hear how you felt about its fall.
Oh man, yeah, we'll have to dedicate an episode to it at some point because I feel like we need another deep dive because I've seen like two really just interesting updates that just happen to kind of coincide with the fact that the U.S. invaded Venezuela and got all this oil, and now like I don't know, it could just be coincidence, but
give the people the basic facts.
Right?
So NEOM was supposed to be a city.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like this futuristic city that was totally the brainchild of Mohammed bin Salman. And it's he loves sci-fi, so like a lot of the architectural renderings looked like something that would be generated by AI. One of the highlights of the line was supposed to be this like building that essentially hung from the sky. It was like this upside down skyscraper.
So stupid.
And like some of the they're just like what they like thought about like hanging it from like space. They thought about all this shit, but what they could never figure out was like, how do we get the plumbing to go up? Like when you flush a toilet, right? It's just like, you think about just like basic shit in literally, and you're just like, oh yeah, that's a really stupid idea. Like that should be maybe maybe you draw it out and you're like, oh, this would be cool, right? And then the second thing someone says to you, because they hired all these McKinsey and Boston Consulting Group geniuses, and that never came up. They were always like,
Wait, to cut to the chase though. So basically, like, there's supposed to be this city that was going to be like a line, and it was going to be kind of like Disneyland. Like everything was going to be like on top of each other, so you couldn't see like essentially probably
you couldn't see the logistics
people
layer
who are running around below.
Yeah.
And now it's literally just going to be, I think, like an AI data center. Like that's it. It's not a city, right?
Well, it looks like, so they had this like big vision for 2030 to have like 3 million people or something in NEOM. And then that got revised down to like 1 million. And then that got revised down to like, 800,000. And then now it's revised down to like 300,000.
So the size of the city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And so I'm not sure what they're building it, but like I just saw that they're starting to shift a considerable portion.
They've given up on the
budget.
line, which was like the whole shtick. Yeah.
Yeah. They've also given up on the Mokab, which I don't know if you saw that
Really?
one. Yeah. So
no,
the Mokab
they've given up on everything.
Yeah. So it says here, I'm reading in the New Arab, Mokab was like another really ambitious project, which was almost kind of like sacrilegious. It's just like a giant golden cube, kind of, it feels like supposed to be spiritually related to the Kaaba, which is also
it very much feels like a false idol.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you get any more blatant? Yeah.
Right. So the Mokab was set to play a central role in the Riyadh Expo 2030, seen as a global stage to showcase Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's ambitious infrastructure plans and in anticipation of the 2034 Saudi World Cup. Mokab is intended to be a 400 meter by 400 meter metal cube containing a dome with the world's largest AI-powered display and 2 million square meters of interior floor space, making it the largest single built structure on the planet. So like, how the in Vegas they have the sphere that has like it's like in a giant display. The Mokab was supposed to be like essentially the same thing.
So they're just scrapping the whole thing.
So it says here, when the plan was announced, Mokab faced controversy due to similarities with Kaaba and Mecca. It is now being reported that the work on the cube-shaped megastructure has been suspended while experts review the development. So,
this is a good lighthearted thing to end on. I love seeing Saudi lose.
yeah. So I think they are shifting. Again, a lot of this was supposed to be paid for with the sovereign wealth fund, right? Like this massive multi-trillion-dollar fund controlled pretty much by Mohammed bin Salman and like the royal family. And like, I do wonder if they see themselves as threatened after the invasion of Venezuela and like, already declining oil prices before the invasion of Venezuela and like
But wouldn't that want to make them diversify, or you're just saying they don't want to shell out for these crazy projects anymore? That could be true.
I think both. I think like they're seeing that, again, like 40 something, almost 50% of their wealth or like GDP still comes from like revenues from their oil production and all that. So I do wonder if they're like, oh, okay, it's going to go down even further. And also we do need to diversify, and maybe they need to speed up their diversification. And in order to do that, they need to like pull money out of these like insane projects.
I think that's actually a really good hypothesis. And also I think just some of the stuff was so poorly structurally conceived that they finally realized it wasn't doable.
Yeah.
It's just embarrassing that they advertised it so hardcore and made such a big deal out of it.
Yeah. It's got to be embarrassing to be Mohammed bin
Yeah,
Salman.
like how do you say I'm going to have a whole city that's a line, and then you're like, just kidding, it's a few data centers.
And
like,
they probably
not even...
Yeah, I don't know how much
they wasted so much money.
Yeah, I was trying to see here if I could skim it real quick to see if there's a figure of how much money they've already spent on it. I mean, it's got to be like billions, right?
Yeah, it's a morally reprehensible amount.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, here it is. Yeah, you're right. So sources told the Financial Times that NEOM will now be massively cut back, with efforts potentially focused on AI and data centers. So yeah, they're just building a bunch of fucking like Amazon style warehouses out there now,
which is like not glamorous or exciting. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
also
great.
like how they're going to build AI data centers in the desert, because AI data centers like notoriously need a shitload of water so that they stay
Oh
cooled.
yeah, crap! I didn't even think about that.
So I mean, good luck with that. We wish
They're
the
going to
best.
accelerate the water wars.
Oh yeah, for sure. Anyway, all right. Well, I gotta get ready for the Arabic lesson.
This is a good place to end.
Yeah.
We hate Saudi. We hate Israel. We hate the U.S. is not the people, but the government.
Some of the people.
Most governments are bad, but we love a lot of people here. And nation states are not working.
Yeah.
Maybe we all work towards a better model.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you miss me?
I do miss you.
Okay.
I'm glad I got to see your face.
Yeah, I miss you too.
We'll
It's,
record together on Friday, which will be good for next Monday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to bring the mics, actually?
Yeah, sure. I can do that.
Whatever's easy. All right. Love you all. Stay safe.
Okay, bye. Love you.
Love you.
Yeah.
Bye.
And also love you all listeners.
Yeah.
All you listeners. Okay, bye.
Bye.